Okay, first let's give you what the poll or polls have said. Now all the exit polls are out and almost all of them, including Axis My India, have given a clear edge to the NDA to win the Bihar elections where counting will take place on Friday. Some like today's Chanakya are going as high as 160. Axis My India more conservative, giving 121 to 141 to the NDA in the 243-member assembly. But the trend is clear. All the major polls are saying the NDA has the clear edge in the battle for Bihar. I spoke earlier to Pradeep Gupta of Axis My India to try and get him to explain his numbers. Listen into what he said.
Pradeep ji, lot has been made about the Mahila, the women vote. A margin of 5%, how does it really come together for the NDA? And what I'd like to ask you, if it is a close election, if it is the lower limit of the NDA and the higher limit of the MJB, then those 12 seats, which there is a friendly fight on, where the margin of victory last time was, in votes was 12,000. Every seat went down to the wire. How much will that come into play? You must have studied those seats as well, sir.
Definitely, yes, Preeti, and I will reply for seat by seat for those seats as well. Give me some time. But I would always say that these political party call it friendly fight. I call it suicidal fight.
That could be the game changer.
It suits them to, that discourse among themselves. But when it comes to the voter and the voter sees the symbol of both the party in the machine, they confuse, and in the process, the vote gets split and they get defeated.
So are they losing all those friendly fights? Is the Mahagathbandhan losing all the friendly fights?
I will give you the number, but majority of them they are losing. But I will give you the seat by seat number. Give me some time. But ने जो सवाल पूछा कि lower range and higher range of गठबंधन and lower range of NDA, इसकी क्या संभावना है और ये कहाँ से आ रही है, उसका मैं जवाब देने की कोशिश करता हूँ.
अच्छा प्रदीप जी जो युवा फिनिश
सारा तीनों डेमोग्राफी का जवाब दे दूंगा मैं, जाति का, महिला का और युवा का. जाति तो यू नो दैट कि सबके सामने MY यानी मुस्लिम यादव ने एक मुश्त वोट बड़ी संख्या में इनको किया. मुझे एक भी व्यक्ति यादव नहीं मिला जो बोले कि उसने जनस्वराज को वोट किया. तो वहां पर पूरा का पूरा मुश्त एक वोट या AIM को सीमांचल में कहीं पर वोट किया.
Okay, so Pradeep Gupta is claiming that caste, Mahila and Yuva are the critical factors. A Yuva vote is the advantage to the Mahagathbandhan. Mahila vote is going to the NDA, and caste identities are more or less holding on. Amitabh Tiwari found a voter vibe who's also given an edge clearly to the NDA in his poll, giving them about 135, joins us. Yashwant Deshmukh found a C voter. He's being more cautious, is only giving percentages. Also joins us. Yashwant Deshmukh, to you first. Turnout is big in this election, and that's what has led to a huge question mark. What, according to you, as you look at these numbers, are you also broadly, in percentage terms in your case, going along with the trend? Pradeep Gupta says 43% to NDA, 41% to the Mahagathbandhan. Do you go along with it?
I won't answer that, Rajdeep, but what I can tell you, what I've been telling you all along.
What is your percentage? What are your percentages?
Which is only which only confirmed by the higher turnout and record turnout. So basically, I believe that the males have voted more in favor of Mahagathbandhan and females have more voted in favor of NDA. And I also believe that the gap among the female is much bigger than what everybody is expecting or anticipating. Having said that, there is definitively a bigger portion of the younger males in the male universe that has come out to vote, and there are two claimants of that. Bigger claimant obviously is Tejashwi Yadav, and the sizable claimant is also Prashant Kishor of the Badlao and the change mood, which has started. Whatever percentage he might be getting in is directly from that change mood of change kind of emotion or kind of voter. So obviously the Yadav and I mean I genuinely believe, Rajdeep, this election of Bihar is going to change the way we look at with the orthodox equation of explaining Bihar. Yes, I understand caste are important equation, not just in Bihar, in every state. But this election is the one which is going to probably prove that there are things which are moving the electoral sceneries beyond the caste and religion arithmetic altogether. The two
Right.
vote bank that we are all discussing, youth and the female, are caste agnostic, the religion agnostic largely, because we know for sure there is a sizable chunk of even upper caste youth which has on the Rozgar promise kind of gone ahead and voted for Tejashwi. And there is a significant chunk of even Yadav and Muslim females who have gone out and voted for Nitish Kumar, not for BJP, but for Nitish Kumar. So I refuse to believe that everything starts and stops at the caste line. If this election is about anything, it's about the youth voter and about the Mahila voter. And if this election is decisively proving one way or the other, we will know in for 72 hours, 48 hours time frame, then these two vote banks have arrived, and this will force not just the politicians of Bihar, Rajdeep, but politicians across India, the way we are looking and understanding elections in terms of what kind of futuristic policies and the vote catching announcements that are to be done. So this is going to be a watershed election in every more ways than one that we can think of. Mark my words very carefully. I don't use these words very, very often. But I genuinely believe this election of Bihar is going to change the way elections are looked on, not just by me and you and other pollsters or journalists alike, but basically those who are the direct stakeholders, that is the people and the politicians in this country.
You know, what is being suggested there for Amitabh Tiwari, to summarize what I heard from Yashwant Deshmukh, that there are two vote banks emerging, Mahila and Yuva, women and youth. And these are two vote banks that may be perhaps moving out of frozen caste identities. Do you go along with that? Or do you believe that caste is still the template around which politics in a state like Bihar functions? Do you believe that the young are generally anti-incumbency and women tend to be pro-incumbency, particularly if there's a leader like Nitish Kumar at the helm who has consciously cultivated a woman constituency? That Mahila and Yuva, unlike Muslims and Yadavs, are the new MY of politics.
They are the new MY in many senses, and it's also a battle. This election is between a MY versus MY in that sense, because the NDA or the Nitish Kumar-led government tried to create this Mahila Yuva vote bank. The issue is that Yuva is also Mahila and male. So amongst Yuva Purush, because of this high unemployment rates and whatever said and done, the legacy of Nitish Kumar is marred by the fact that there is a lack of industrialization and creation of jobs in Bihar. So this, you can say, half of Yuva is actually veering towards the Mahagathbandhan. So it becomes a 2.5 MY sort of versus a 1.5 MY sort of for the NDA, which is the Mahila and the Mahila Yuva. However, degree of consolidation of the youth in favor of Mahagathbandhan is not that high when you compare it with the Mahila. So there is fragmentation in the youth vote, and whatever Jan Swaraj is getting, 5%, 7%, 10% according to different polls, a large chunk of it is coming from this 18 to 24 age group. And that is what I think in this MY versus MY battle gives that slight edge to that NDA, as Yashwantji mentioned, because we talk about the aspirational class youth. In states like Bihar, MP, UP, etc., or the Hindi heartland, the Mahila is also becoming aspirational, and that also rural Mahila living in rural areas, villages, is becoming aspirational. And this Jivika Didi in some ways has also empowered them and is taking them through this journey of becoming aspirational.
But purely in terms of the exit poll, both of you surprised with Prashant Kishor. Not a single exit poll is putting him in double digits. Maybe there's one in vote share, but none of them certainly in terms of seats. Yashwant, you go first. Are you surprised at all that Prashant Kishor, who's got a lot of TV time and certainly social media time, as per the exit polls, not making an impact. He wanted to be a change agent.
Well, I'm not surprised because we have seen this replicated earlier in, this trend earlier in Uttar Pradesh when Priyanka Gandhi did a hell of a campaign. But eventually Congress got squeezed out in the assembly election as the process became bipolar between BJP and the Samajwadi Party. Even Mayawati got squeezed out. So I was always maintaining that, if Prashant Kishor is unable or his candidate is unable or is not seen as the winnable candidate, then the Bihar politics is such a bipolar in nature that in terms of ensuring that the opponent, the main opponent, either of the camps doesn't win, eventually that might fizzle out. That's precisely what is happening. Having said that, Rajdeep, I must say that capturing the vote share or seat share of a new entrant is next to impossible in sampling perspective, So, because there is no electoral history to do a projection on when you are doing applying strings and statistical formula. So, his numbers, which are ranging 5% plus, tells me that even in the raw data, that means different people have got captured at least 5% of the vote for Prashant Kishor. And, on the higher side, I think some of them probably have touched just 10%, if I'm not wrong. I haven't seen much of the vote share. Everybody is just playing in the seat share ranges. I mean, not many are telling us the vote share. That's the irony of it. But whenever you look at it, that okay, even if the raw data is capturing his vote share, which is probably better than the vote share of Chirag Paswan 5 years back. So if that vote share is ensuring that Chirag Paswan remains an important player in not just in Bihar but at the national level, I believe if Prashant Kishor manages to breach that mark of Chirag Paswan's vote share, he will remain or he will become even bigger significant player in the years to come, provided he doesn't call it a quit. He remains there to play the politics.
Okay, I'm going to, if there is any X factor, all these exit polls going one way, but your exit poll, Amitabh, as well as that of Pradeep Gupta within the margin of error, 2 to 3% difference. Could this election go down to the wire? Or are we clear that the NDA will be well ahead come Friday this time? A quick answer.
It could go down to the wire if the election is very hyper-local. We've seen that there is a high amount of anti-incumbency against local MLAs irrespective of parties, and BJP has denied the least amount of tickets to candidates, whereas in other states, we have seen that ratio to be very high. The other X factor is that even though Jan Swaraj is polling, let's say on an average 5 to 6%, whom does it spoil? Because there were 83 close contests in 2020 where the victory margin was less than 5%. So if Jan Swaraj is polling 5%, whom it is damaging? An NDA or a Mahagathbandhan or both, or on a net basis, either of the alliances. The whole game now is largely predicated on the alpha women support, which the NDA is able to get from the non-core vote bank of NDA or largely the Muslim Yadav vote bank of Mahagathbandhan. And these are difficult to catch.
It is difficult to catch. It's also difficult to catch as we've accepted Prashant Kishor. If that 5% goes up to 8%, that could upset a lot of calculations. If the 5% comes down even a little, then it could also change calculations in an entirely different way. Remember, exit polls are also on test. They've gone through a period of ups and downs in the last 18 months. We have been very cautious in suggesting that, remember, these are pollsters who are putting their reputation on the line. We are only trying to understand why they are predicting one side will win and not the other. Thank you to my guests. Just a reminder that in about, 36 hours from now, it will be verdict day. The battle for Bihar. We will have all our reporters fanned out and our reporter anchors who have the ability to assess the results because they've spent a lot of time on the ground in Bihar. And that's the reason that we will be making sure that this is the channel which will give you all that you need to know on verdict, state of war Bihar on the 14th of November. So that's the date to look forward to. To all of you who've been watching the show tonight, thanks for watching. Stay well, stay safe. Good night, Shubh Ratri, Jai Hind, Namaskar.